Hi, Stuart. Can you hear me?
Hi Levi, how you doing? Can you hear me all
Hi.
right?
I can hear you fine. Hang on a wee second. There we go. It
Hi, how
says
you
Levi.
doing?
It says Levi Clay, but it is Melissa.
Oh no, that's fine. It's nice to see you. It's nice to have you on.
Yeah, it's nice to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. The sun, I mean, it's been a beautiful week. It's been great.
Oh, it's been so nice. And that way I've been sort of like going, oh, I'll do everything today because it's so sunny and it'll be raining tomorrow. And then it's just not been raining tomorrow for like 4 days. I'm like, that's
I
great.
know. I know. I'm trying to find the shade as much as I can though. Just put my feet in like a bucket of cold water as well.
Yeah, we are still Scottish, aren't we? So it's still a bit like, this is lovely, but I'm boiling in
Are
the
you
centre of
Scot?
the sun.
Are you Scottish then, Melissa?
Yeah, well, I'm Scottish Irish, but also my mother's side of the family Roma descent, so yeah, a bit of a mixed bag, but I still kind of consider myself fairly Scottish.
You sound Scottish. You look
Yeah,
Scottish.
that's what I think.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, your band, you're in the Melissa Kelly and the Smoking Crows.
mhm.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about your band, what you do?
Sure. Yeah. We've been going for a good God. It must be about 6 years now. We've been going. Um, we've played kind of all up and down the UK, but we're a 13 piece. I say 13 piece. Technically a 13 piece soul band. We kind of chop and change a lot. So at our biggest, we've been 13. But a lot of the time it's 11. I think we're currently just 9 of us, just because of things like the Miss Rona and trying to fit onto stages and rehearsal rooms and all the rest of it. But yeah, we're a soul band. It's an original soul band. I'm the lead singer and also the songwriter for the band. So yeah, I sort of write these tunes, and then I've got this wonderful backing band who come in and sort of bring that music to life, which is really cool.
Yeah. I listened to your first album and I have to say it's amazing.
Oh,
Your
thank you so
vocals
much.
are just so they're so beautiful. I was going to say raw, and just the lyrics are really really nice. I just
Thank you
thought
so
that's
much.
just really really a great album. You know.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a lot of work, that album. And God, it was 3 years ago, 3 years ago now when we made Devil's Luck. But yeah, it was one of those ones where it was our debut album, so we're like, okay, what are people gonna think about it? Are they gonna enjoy it? What if they think it is rubbish? And everyone was really sweet about it. So, we did really well, I think. In
Did you
fact,
get a
I
lot
think.
of exposure then? Like it's reached a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, a lot more people than I thought it would. Because to be honest, we are a Glasgow-based band, and most of the band are from Glasgow. So I had no sort of dreams of some kind of grandeur of being like all over the UK. But it did really well, and it was played all over the world and on Spotify and things like that. Yeah, so it definitely did a lot better than I thought it would. And certainly on the lead up to the album launch, we came to SunnyG on the hottest day of the year in 2018, the hottest day of the year. So I think it was about 27, but it was in the studio in actual Govan, and I think it was Jim that was with us that day. I was sweating buckets. We were playing as well as sort of like having a chat about the music, and oh man, it was brutal. So it feels like a nice full circle that I'm back again talking to you again on the absolute boiling day.
Yeah, I didn't know you'd been on SunnyG before. That's nice that you've come on before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like I say, it was oh god, it must have been about 2 months before the album launch. We were sort of going around all of our local radio stations to promote the album and to talk about all the music that we'd been making and the gigging that we were going to be doing. And yeah, we came to SunnyG. It was such a beautiful day, the hottest day ever. But the great thing about it was after we finished, um the lads from SunnyG were like, come on outside and we can do a wee tune outside. So I was like, aye, no problem. So we all sat on the wee bench outside SunnyG, and we played one of the tunes off the new album, and all the neighbours started hanging out the windows, and people were coming out from the pub on the corner, and they're like, "Way!" It was so good. It was such a beautiful memory. I think on the lead up to that album, I was losing my mind. I was a crazy person. So that was a nice memory.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
Yeah. Oh, it was wild. It was a wild couple of months. I think I spent most of the time swinging between existential dread and fear and nightmare, and being really really excited about the whole thing. So getting to do SunnyG then. Um, it was kind of like a nice break because it's so wonderfully laid back, and like I say, the everyone, the neighbours and the pubs and everything around Sunny G are so hilarious. All the people are great. So we had a lovely day. It was like a day out, despite the fact I live in the east end of Glasgow. It was a day out just to sort of get away from things.
Yeah. So did you do a lot of touring with this album then?
Yeah, we kind of went all over Central Belt Scotland. We did a bunch of stuff down south. I also did a small solo tour as well. And I took it, I went down to London quite a few times with it. We were really, really lucky as far as the festival circuit was concerned after the year of after Devil's Luck. Because we got to play one of the bigger stages at Eden. We got to play a really fantastic stage at Down the Rabbit Hole. We also got to play two stages at Kilburn Garden Party, which I think possibly thinking back, Garden Parties was my favourite. That was my absolute favourite. But yeah, we took that album a lot of places, and everyone really sort of connected with the band and really engaged with the music we were playing, especially at Kilburn. We were on two stages, and you think after a long day in the sun and having a few bevies and sort of hanging around in a field, most people would be like a bit worn out by the end of the day. But no, it was the Sunday night that we ended our last gig for Kilburn on the Pyramid stage, and people were still losing their mind then. I was like, "How are you all still going?" I'd be absolutely burst if it were me. But yeah, we were lucky that way. We got to gig at quite a few really really fantastic stages.
That's excellent. Um, with the Miss Rona that's happened, as you
Yeah.
say, Miss Rona, um, it's affected a lot of bands and stuff like that. Do you
Mhm.
think it's affected your band in any way?
Oh
Um,
God, yeah. In fact, I think it's important in the current strange times that we're all, as creatives and people that work in like the music industry, we're all really honest about how it's affected us. Because I think there's definitely been an air in the Pavlova. I like to call it the Pavlova rather than pandemic. There's definitely been an air in the Pavlova of people being like on social media, behaving like nothing's happened, behaving like their career's still wonderful, but also kind of going, well, you should be taking this time to learn a new instrument or be better on your instrument or be a better songwriter and all these things. And it's like, it's things that I say to my students when I'm teaching. I teach part time. Is that being creative and writing music and performing music, um, it's a tricky job. It's not putting out fires or working in the trenches, but it's a tricky job. And being creative during the current sort of climate is even harder. So cut yourself some slack and just be like, I can't do it today. The most I can do today is get up, watch Netflix, and go back to bed. That's all I can do, and that's okay. And I think certainly with me and the band, I lost a lot of work when the Miss Rona first kicked off, because I was gigging a couple of residencies. They were gone, and I know the band were the same. Everyone's a full time musician, at that time everyone was a full time musician that taught a little bit on the side, whereas the balance now has went the other way. Quite a lot of us have had to teach more so than we would have done. But you know what? I'm not going to complain about it because I've got work in the Pavlova, thank God. Because I know there's some people, musician friends of mine, incredibly talented musician friends of mine, who haven't got it. So we're all just trying to make it through, and hopefully, when it all does finish, people remember the things that got them through the pandemic. When people are thinking about, right, how did I get through? Of course, the first answer is probably going to be my friends and family, and communicating with my friends and family. But I'm sure the second and third and the fourth are going to be things like listening to my favorite bands, watching my favorite movies, reading my favorite books, all of these things. Hopefully, people remember it was art that got them through, so they'll be more inclined to go out, invest, and watch art when it comes to it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, Yeah, and like, did you embrace the sort of tech sort of side of it? I saw on your Facebook you'd done some things on recorded um, on your Facebook feed.
Yeah, yeah,
Was
yeah.
it different people?
Absolutely. I think that was one thing that I wasn't really prepared for, to be honest, because up until that point, I'd been gigging plenty, so it didn't really being more techie about getting my music to people. It didn't really enter my mind, which is kind of bad, especially when we are all so connected to our phones and laptops all the time. But yeah, when things sort of kicked off, I did a couple of live streams that really helped. Um, I've also been doing things like recording from home and starting to sort of build up a video base on YouTube and just yeah, trying to be a bit more online about it, which is something that I never really thought I would do because I always thought that I would much prefer to be in person with people, in the room, in the venue, on the stage, in front of the people. Obviously,
Yeah,
that's not been completely possible, but yeah, it's being a bit more on social media has really helped over the Pavlova to kind of get my music to people, because I released a solo album last year, and it was all recorded in my house. It was recorded in my kitchen, and then it was put out online. That was hard. It
a
was really hard.
solo a solo album. Would you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So I just as the Pavlova kicked off, I was in the last 4 or 5 months of my masters. I was doing a music masters at UWS, and as part of my completion of that masters, I had to record and present an album. And I thought, how am I going to do this? How's that going to happen? I'm not, I've got to do all of this. And normally when I do stuff like that, I've got like lots of musician friends who are playing for me, and I'm going to a studio that I paid for and stuff like that. Nothing prepared me for the idea that, I was going to have to do that. But that being said, I kind of enjoyed the process of not having all those things. I think sometimes it's kind of that Brian Eno thing. Sometimes when you have all of the things that you're used to using stripped away and you've got to make some real changes, real creativity comes out of that. So, like I said, I recorded the album as part of my master's project. It's called Love Letters to the Master. It's a kind of darker, more sort of ballady album. Most people are used to the Crow stuff, which is very soul, very upbeat. This stuff's quite downbeat and quite sort of spooky, for want of a better word. Spooky, being a spooky bitch. But yeah, it's you can get it on Spotify. I'm really proud of it. Again, recorded in my kitchen. I had a lovely Moss Taylor and Kyle Hood play on it for me, and Nicky Murray, who all played on it, and they all long distanced it. So I'd be sending them stuff and they'd be recording in their house and sending it back to me. So there's something about that I kind of enjoy. Don't get me wrong. I want to be back in a studio, but it was still fun. So.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, you've done an album with your band, and then you've done a solo album on
Mhm.
your own. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's pretty good. And are you working on anything else at the moment?
Yeah, well, that's I've been reaching out to sort of Crow fans and telling them what's going on. So we are currently in the process of pulling our resources together and getting ourselves in line to record the next Crow album this year. Ideally, getting it finished this year. So yeah, we I've been writing a lot in the past few months. Have been a lot more prolific than the lockdown has been. I'm not gonna lie, most of lockdown I was kind of lying on my kitchen floor and drinking red wine and feeling a bit sorry for myself. But I've got stuff on the go, material on the go, and we're hoping to get into the studio probably by about October November time, for release next year. And for that reason, we're going to be doing we're going to try and get some funding for it. We're going to be doing some crowdfunding for it. I've also just created my Patreon so that people can go and they can support my Patreon, where you get lots of cool footage and lots of cool stuff that you wouldn't get anywhere else on social media, as another way of supporting. Because I realise that not everyone's got a lot of money right now. Nobody's particularly flush, so it's just another way of supporting. But yeah, we're excited about it. I can't wait to get back in the studio and actually finish it because we were supposed to be doing it last year. But of course, the world ended, so that got put on hold.
Yeah, yeah, that's a shame about the what happened.
Yeah.
I mean that there
Hmm.
was a band, and I was chatting with them. I had them on called Project Entity, and they had
Hmm.
just started doing live shows. They only
Hmm.
done their first sort of live show, and then Rona hit, and that
Yeah.
was. But
Brutal.
since yeah, throughout the lockdown though, they've been writing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Concentrating on um, the writing
Hmm.
material and
Yeah.
other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean, I know there was one or two bands that I met just before Miss Rona hit, and they were talking about how they just started. And I definitely feel super sorry for bands that were just starting out when that happened, because at least when it happened, I had quite a few years under my belt and working in the music industry, but also the Crows had been going for a good few years, so being a bit more established definitely helped. But again, I think Miss Rona's kind of leveled the playing field as far as that's concerned, because we're all kind of in the same boat, so nobody's particularly better off than anyone else, I don't think. Not until you're getting past grassroots music. Do you know what I mean? But it'll all come back though.
Yeah. I think it's starting to come back now.
Yeah.
Hopefully, very, very soon, we'll start be seeing live gigs and stuff like
Yeah,
that again. Yeah.
please, please, dear God, that would be nice.
Sunny G were actually had a live DJ set on the fan zone.
Oh,
There,
fantastic.
the football was on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think they really enjoyed that.
Yeah, trust Sunny G to somehow find a way. Life finds a way for Sunny G even in the worst of times.
I know.
Thank God.
Yeah. Um, what's your favorite songs off the first album? Have you got any favorites?
Oh, um, I mean that kind of changes depending on what mood I'm in all honesty. But I think for me, uh, probably the one that was my absolute standout favorite to perform was "I'm the Boss," because "I'm the Boss" is sort of it's a bit of a it got called at one point in a critic was reviewing the song and reviewing the album. They called it a feminist anthem, and I was like, that's so cool. I view it more of a rant than anything else. It's a rant about being really fed up. But I love performing it, and the band do such an amazing job of it. So yeah, I would definitely say "I'm the Boss" is up there with one of my favorites.
Excellent. I'll put that on. Have you get any other ones that's from the first album, Devil's Luck?
Yep.
Did you get any other ones from that album?
From that album, I've got quite a few, but the other track that I really love that we put out. So we managed to, between Tears in Glasgow, we managed to get into a studio to record one single. So we had 12 hours to record this single. Now, as I said, when you've got a big band, that can be a bit of a task, especially because we hadn't got the chance to rehearse. So it was essentially like all the bands were told, right, here's the song. I sent them the demo. Here's the song. Here's the arrangement. If everyone can learn it, we're going to go into the studio and try and do this. It may not work, but we'll try it. And the band did what they always do. They went away, they had a listen, and then they came to the studio on the day and they knocked it out of the park. So we ended up with a single. So, and that's Not Today. Not Today's on Spotify as well. I love that track just because it's it reminds me of what I can actually do in the worst possible set of circumstances, i.e., no rehearsal, no resources, no time, no money, still managed to make a single. And I really love the song just because it's one of those songs where you put on when you're having a sort of bad day or you're feeling a bit down and you can sort of bop along to it because it's quite sort of feel good.
Yeah, I listened to that song. It was really good. Yeah, it was really, really good. And that
Yeah.
was just recently released.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
September last year.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Love
Um,
it.
so you were talking about your Patreon account. That's how you got in touch with me,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it. It just sort of popped up, and I thought
Yeah.
it must be because I'm friends of someone that's a friend. Because I think sometimes I don't know if this is the case, but you can pay to sort of like you pay something and it's for friends of friends as well. I wasn't
You you
sure.
you popped up because you were on my list of crow people. So I've got a list on my Facebook of everyone that's followed the crows, like the
Right.
crows. So I was having a look at them because the thing is, I know a lot of the people are on that, but there's also people there
Mhm.
that I don't know.
Yeah.
And I saw your name pop up, and I was like, hmm. But yeah, the Patreon thing, as I say, it's another way of me trying to continue to create music, and but also trying to continue to create content that people might find fun to watch and engage with, on a sort of a more exclusive level, because
Mhm.
at the moment anyone can go to my Facebook or my Instagram and get sort of photographs or whatever of me. It's all very sort of mainstream. Most people do stuff that I'm putting on my social media. It's nothing really, trailblazing there. But I thought, right, for those people who might be a little bit more inclined to want something a wee bit more interesting or a little bit more exclusive, the Patreon is me making videos and putting up music and putting up photographs from behind the scenes. It's also a way of, what it's like in Miss Rona, as I said. A lot of people have found themselves unemployed, or they found themselves on a budget that's a lot lower than what they were on before, and they still want to support. As I say, we're trying to fund the next album rather than trying to pay for it ourselves, because we're not in a great position to do that either. So having something like Patreon is great, because it means it's not like we're asking everyone for a tenner, because some people might not have that or might not want that. It's a little bit more, I guess, a little bit more flexible for people. They get to sort of choose what they can afford to help us with, and it gives them access to lots of cool stuff. So it's still a service in a way, and I like the platform. I think it's cool.
Yeah. I think if you were doing more gigs and that, and you maybe made a bit more money, then you could have funded it yourself. Maybe.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, at Devil's Luck, I funded myself, and that was a huge undertaking, a huge financial undertaking. That, don't get me wrong, I had one or two other people outside of myself who also helped with the costs of things, but the main bulk of, I would say, 80% of the album, I paid for myself.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I don't regret it for a minute. I would do it all again, even though it was a hellish year and a half. It was so much work. Um, that being said, funding it again would not be something that would be an easy undertaking, just purely because, as like a lot of creatives, I lost a lot of work. I went from, I would say, between the start of lockdown and now, I'm still running at maybe 30 to 40% of the work that I was doing, probably a little bit less than that actually, which is wild when you think about it. So yeah, but I'm also aware that there's people that came to gigs, came to Crow Stuff, who really loved what we did, who are in a better position. And they're in a better position to support, but also they want something that's a wee bit more interesting than just a photograph on an Instagram. They want maybe something that's a video of me talking about all the weird and wonderful things I'm up to do with music. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds excellent. I know I'm a member now. I've
Yes.
only chipped in £1. I feel like a bit of a cheapskate, but
Oh, shush. No, see, this is absolutely not. This is what I say to people. I'm like, if you've ever even, I said it, in fact, I said it at the album launch for Devil's Luck. If you've ever even given me a lift, if you've ever even, popped out to the shop and got me a bottle of water, if you've ever done anything really, really tight, it doesn't matter how big, from people who do stuff like that, right through to those people who were involved in Devil's Luck, who did things like worked in kind, like worked a whole bunch of hours in kind, or we had a couple of wonderful backers, this beautiful couple, Roddy and Anne, who backed us. In order, we played at an event for them, and they paid us a really great fee for that, and then they knew that that fee was going right back into the album. So yeah, I think sometimes people in their mind, they go, oh well, I don't want to just give a small amount, or I don't want to just share a post because that feels like not enough. So I'll think about it, maybe do something like, and then they never do anything. It's like, no, just share the post, buy the bottle of water, give them the lift. All that little stuff does help.
yeah, yeah, yeah. God, my mind's went a bit blank now. Sorry.
That's all right. I've been talking at you. That's why.
I know, I know. Um, oh yeah, I was going to mention. You mentioned you're working. Are you working on your second album with the Smoking Crows? Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. That's the one that I'm talking about for getting funded. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And this is what you're going to try and use your Patreon to fund.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. The album is more or less at the sort of demoing stage, where we would then, all the bands would rehearse it. So yeah, we're getting close to that stage, which is good. But we want to be in a position where we can record it properly. So we are looking at different funding outfits like PRS for Women and Creative Scotland, and and also crowdfunding, because crowdfunding can be a really great one, because it means that the people involved in the process are, um, they feel like they're part of it, but also they're getting something back from it. So it's not just like they're giving money and nothing's happening. Like they're giving money and they're getting a service, or they're giving money and they're getting a product. So, when we do crowdfunding, we're probably, how we're going to do it is offer pre-sales of the album. So people can pre-buy the album on vinyl or CD, and that helps to go towards recording costs. It's a really great way of doing it. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like, in the current climate of the music industry, it's kind of wild that musicians are really having to go cap in hand to the consumer, in the way that they're doing. But at the same time, it's kind of working out perfectly, because it means that, we're not having to go to record labels, and give away sort of like rights to things. We're not having to have a middleman who, might well front us, say, 10 grand to record, but then we'll expect that 10 grand back and more. So, do you know what I mean? It's nice that we're getting to keep creative control, and as long as people keep funding us, we'll get to do that, which is awesome.
So you use your own label then, sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Are you in
As
control of that then yourself?
Yes, I have a record label called Riot Queen Records. I started it with some friends on my masters, and initially, we started it as part of our coursework. Then it grew arms and legs, and we're like, this is actually something that would be really cool to continue on. Currently, the record label is just there for me to release crows and solo stuff through. We have been, chatting away to different artists, who we hope to launch when the world sort of reopens through Riot Queen Records. But at the moment, it is just the record label for the Crows. But that being said, it's a label that we're going to sort of focus on trying to sign, more artists, that are, women, more artists that are from the LGBTQI community, more artists that are people of color, just trying to make a little bit more of a diverse music industry, so that, uh, we've got lots of different voices involved, because that's really what makes it exciting, is it, when there's lots of people involved.
I think we need more women in the music industry. Definitely, there's
Yeah.
not enough. Yeah,
No, there's really not. I think a lot of women feel it's kind of a two-sided thing, from the women that I've met and chatted to about, their thoughts and hopes and dreams about being in the music industry. You've got a younger sort of demographic of women who, are finding it hard to break into cliques, finding that when they are trying to, jam with different musicians or be part of networking, occasions, they're finding themselves a bit boxed out. Then you've got women that are perhaps a little bit older, who have perhaps went away to have a child, or are re-entering the music industry and feeling like they're a wee bit older, and feeling like, because they're a bit older, that somehow that should penalize them because they're older. And to those women, I would say absolutely not. Granted, I can't tell you the last time I saw a grey-haired woman kicking around the music industry. That shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be, because it doesn't really happen to men where they get boxed out because of their age, or boxed out because they've had a child. So it shouldn't happen to women either. Um, and the thing I would say to women is, be tenacious. Um, it's very easy when you're getting boxed out and you're not getting replies to emails, and you're not getting asked to be part of things, and you're getting sort of shunted to the side of things. Real easy at that point to go, well, maybe this industry is not for me. Perhaps I should be doing something different in the music industry. Maybe I should, work behind the scenes or stuff. Don't do that. Be tenacious. If people won't let you be part of what they're doing, make it for yourself. Make your own opportunities. I'm not saying that that's the answer to everything, but it's a start. And I think having a brass neck and being tenacious are some of the things that really got me through when I first started. Because when I first started, I'm telling you, there was lots of people who were like, You're just a singer. Don't bother playing any instruments. You don't know what you're doing. Don't bother writing music. You don't know what you're doing. No, I'm sorry, we can't have you as part of this because we just, we just don't think you're that very, we don't think you're particularly good. Um, no, well, we're not really looking for a singer like you because we're looking for more like a slim, blonde singer. Like all of this crap, like so much of it, it's toxic. And it's very easy to get upset and go, well, I'm not going to try now. But do keep trying, keep banging the door, keep banging the door, because like you say, we really do need more women in the music industry.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff actually sounds very rude. What they were saying there.
Oh
And
God, yeah. I
should
mean, to be
never say
honest,
things like that.
oh well, it's water off a duck's back to me now, because I'm a bit older and a bit braver and a bit a bit more established. In fact, in all honesty, I enjoy a wee bit of privilege now, because there's a lot of people who kind of wouldn't dare talk to me like that now, as they would then. Um, but it goes in a spectrum. It goes from being sort of rude right through to just straight out offensive. Um, you know, and I'm not even delving into the sort of sexual harassment side of the music industry. I'm not even going to bother myself getting into that right now, because it's a lovely sunny day and none of us need that.
It's a
None of
whole
us need
other,
that conversation today.
yeah. Like,
Things are hard enough. But that being said, I should also say that if you do feel inclined to talk about that stuff, and you do feel inclined that that should be more of the conversation more often, hit me up. I'm happy to have that conversation both publicly and privately. But yeah, it's a bit exhausting. It is exhausting. But
yeah.
yeah.
Oh well. So, have you got any talking about maybe other artists? Have you got any other artists that you enjoy listening to?
Oh God, yeah. I think probably when it comes to local artists, I really love Georgia Cecile. She's a jazz singer from Glasgow. Georgia's fantastic. She's got such a beautiful voice. I really enjoy her stuff. There's another singer songwriter that she does sort of like, I would call her a kind of jazzy indie. It's weird. It's a wonderful mix. Her name's Jana Gabriel. She has some really fantastic. Her songwriting's glorious. Her voice is one of these really beautiful, high, melodic, very pure voices. A voice I will never enjoy. I will always have a voice like a bit rough and a bit low. Hers is the opposite of mine. It's very sweet, and I love it so much. Um, God, who else is there? There's so many people, and sometimes I forget half of them. I would say I will always bang the drum for people like Kitty. Kitty's a fantastic sort of. I would kind of call her like neo soul and jazz. I think she does lean more towards jazz, but I would say there's some neo soul in there too. I think Kitty's fantastic. Not just as a singer and a songwriter, but as a person. I find her so engaging and so funny and so refreshing. She's glorious. So yeah, do check all of them out, because they're all on Spotify and they're all equally amazing.
Are they in your collection right now?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got a couple of different playlists, but one of the ones that I do return to a lot is a playlist that I've got called Female Musicians Scotland, which is part of a community thing, but it's got some amazing musicians on it. And I do listen to that one on the reg, because it's got Georgia and Jana and Kitty and people like Rosie Bands and God, so many good ones, and Anna Sweeney, and just some amazing musicians.
I'll need to check that out. Sounds great.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really good.
yep, definitely. Um, so actually, I was going to ask you, you're a singer and a songwriter. You've got your
Hmm.
own record label, and you've been
Hmm.
trying to sort of, you've got your albums that you've done, and you're working on
Hmm.
new stuff. But you,
Hmm.
you, you you're, do you play an instrument? I think, don't you? Is it the guitar?
Yeah, I play guitar and I play piano.
Oh, you play piano as well.
Yeah.
That's quite an accomplishment. The whole thing. Yeah, it sounds like you're
Yeah.
really you're going places.
I mean, I work very hard. I think that's, I mean, that's kind of an unimportant thing to say nowadays. I think to be in the music industry, as I'm sure you know, Stuart, you've got to kind of work hard, and when it comes to instruments, for sure, I never, singing was something I was doing from when I was like a really really small child. Singing was something that was instinctual to me. I never didn't, I've never not sang. in any capacity. I've always sang. Whereas instruments were something that I came to quite late because, I came from a very poor, very working class background. My parents were not in a position to pay for me to get any kind of musical tuition. When I finished high school, I went straight to work because that's what you did. I worked in retail for a lot of the time because their music wasn't really a job as far as my family were concerned, and until that point that was my mentality as well, because very poor and very working class, it doesn't occur to you that you can just go out and be a musician. You need to pay bills. You got to pay bills and look after yourself and all the rest of it. You don't just up and decide to buy a really expensive guitar and become a guitarist. So yeah, when I think I was about 21 when I did start first playing guitar. And it was very exciting and very frustrating because I don't think I'm a natural instrumentalist. I definitely think I'm a natural singer, but I'm not a natural instrumentalist. But I'm glad I stuck at it because a lot of people in the start of my career did dump all over my confidence and try to tell me that I shouldn't play instruments, or I wasn't good enough to do that, or I wasn't going to ever be a musician because, that's just the way it is. And I look back on that now and it's kind of like a nice two fingers right up to them to be like, well, it was lovely and it was sweet that you thought that I wasn't going to be good enough, but here we are. And yeah, and as far as having the guitar and the keys, it's nice to accompany yourself as well. It's an enjoyable thing to do. I do enjoy doing it.
It's nice to have a bit of encouragement now and again.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Yeah. And then sometimes the encouragement just comes from you playing it and having a good time. Sometimes that's enough. But yeah, I think as time goes on, I probably love playing the keys more than I love playing the guitar, but I love them both. They're great. They're great fun.
Yeah. I sometimes think people try and use that reverse psychology on me sometimes as well. Yeah. They tell you
Yeah.
you're bad to try and make you work harder.
Oh
I
no.
don't know if
I
that's a
mean,
thing.
it's 100% a thing. But I think people have used that on me. Um, to my detriment, or at least I think sometimes people have told me I'm rubbish at things and they've not been trying to get me to be better. They've been quite happy to, like, as I say, dump all over me.
Yeah.
But I'm quite I guess psychotic's the only word I can think
Oh,
of right now.
maybe
But if you
resilient is more of a
There we go.
yeah,
You
that's a
see,
better word.
far more far more eloquent than me, sure. Yeah, yes, resilient. Thank you, Stu. Not psychotic. I mean, I'm gonna go with a little bit of both there. I'm gonna go with resilient and psychotic. I think, yeah, when somebody tells me I can't do something, that is the first thing that I want to do.
Yeah,
So, when I've been told things like you can't sing, you're never going to be a musician, you're not a songwriter, you're not good at guitar, you're not good at this, you're never going to be this. That to me is like, cool, well, thank you for your input, but I'm not interested.
yeah,
And I go ahead and try and do it anyway.
yeah. It's like a
I'm
red
not
rag
saying,
to a bull sort of
oh,
thing.
absolutely. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why my makeup, my DNA is like that. But the minute someone's like, nah, I don't think you can do that, Melissa, I'm like, okay, right, well, I'll see the other side when I've done it and you can eat your words in humble pie.
And if you believe it, you believe in yourself, and you're like,
Yeah.
and you look back, you think, oh, I've done that,
Hmm.
and you prove them all wrong, and you're just like,
Yeah. It's great. It's wonderful. Like, I wish to God that I still had my high school music teacher's phone number. I know that I had it at the time, but I wish I could go and phone him and be like, see that wee lassie, that kind of a bit scruffy, a bit down on her luck looking thing. See that lassie that you were like, you can't sing, you'll never be a musician, you're not particularly bright, you're not particularly good at anything, you're kind of scum, so you're not going to go anywhere. I wish I could give him a phone and go, hiya, just to let you know, I've been working in the music industry for 12 years and I have a master's with distinction from the University of West of Scotland. Shove that right up your ballyhoolish ferry
Bahookie.
port.
Yeah, you're bahookie. I think we're allowed to use that word.
Are we allowed?
Yeah,
Bahookie? Can we use
yeah.
that? That's
Aye.
a good Scottish word. We're allowed to use that. Right
Off,
up your bahookie.
Ofcom doesn't know that word.
Oh, that's because Ofcom's based in London or something.
Yeah, yeah. If only they could see you now, like,
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
Um,
uh, I mean, not that I would need that because my career on its own has been. I'm really proud of it, and it's made me very happy. And that was all I ever wanted to be, was happy. I became a musician. I wasn't interested in being famous. I wasn't interested in being rich. I wasn't interested in setting the world on fire. I was interested in being happy, because for a long, long time, I wasn't happy. I was a very unhappy child, and I was a very unhappy teenager, and I kind of resigned myself to the idea that people like me, from the backgrounds that I came from, don't get lucky. We don't get lucky. We don't get what we want, and we certainly don't end up with a happy ever after. So, I guess the career that I've had is the ultimate sort of revenge, um, but it doesn't need to be, because I'm happy.
yeah, that's great. That's excellent, Melissa. Really good luck with your work.
Thank you so much, Stuart,
Oh,
and thank you for supporting.
definitely, and please, anybody out there who wants to check out Melissa's music, you're on Spotify, Melissa
Yep.
Kelly and the Smoking Crows, and it's an excellent album. It's called The Devil's Luck, or just Devil's Luck.
Yeah.
Please check it out. It's just like kind of like, I was going to think a sort of more bluesy Adele's kind of thing, but sort. I think the songs
I'll take that.
it's hard to think to choose between them because they're both really good.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and your Patreon account as well. Please check out Melissa's
Yeah.
Patreon account.
Sure.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show, Melissa. It's
Yeah.
been great
Thank
having
you so
you.
much. Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. And again, thanks for supporting. And I will let you know how the album goes, and you'll probably see it on Patreon before everybody else. We'll see how it goes. Chaos, I'm sure.
I'll hope to see you on Sunny Govern again some other time in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good.
And you
Okay,
hopefully you're
sure.
leading a bit. You're up there with the better, up there with the
Well,
big wigs.
as as long as I get some amazing tour out of it, or some awesome
Yeah,
festival, I'm happy.
yeah.
That's me. As long
Uh,
as long as I can afford a nice big bottle of red wine, I'll always be happy.
just enjoy yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Enjoy it. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, shit.
Thanks a lot.
No
See you
worries.
later. Bye.
Take care. Bye.